Welcome back to another Ondo update. Unfortunately, what I suggested in the past week was that Ondo, I'm calling for a bounce. And the reason why I was calling for a bounce, and as you can see, look where I called it from. Incredible. And look where it's rejected, exactly where we're anticipating. We'll get into that in a sec. But the reason why I called for a bounce is that this is the final level of support before, downtrend continuation. So it has to be an area it bounces. It's also the first Fibonacci targeted area. After completing this move up, we can see we came in to meet this target. And then once again, once we'd failed to continue the breakout, putting a lower high over here, this was what I was calling very early on for you guys, all the way up over here, this head and shoulders pattern, which I suggested would eventually come into the 200 EMA. That had to be an area where the market as a whole bounced from. It's the final support, the 200 EMA. Although we have this new wick down over here, and we held that in the end, the 200 EMA is deciding the true trend. So yeah, it didn't bounce in the end. It didn't recover all the moving averages, and we bled down to meet, of course, the final wick. But remember, the 200 EMA decides the true trend. We've had another fake out in this area. It was also my expected point of rejection, as it's the Fibonacci's. So pretty much all I can suggest is that Ondo must retain this 93 cent level, currently right now maintaining 98, and must reverse exactly from 98 to recover 120 and 125. So please take from this video, we've seen that the bounce from the 200 EMA failed. This started a new downtrend, but there's a final layer of support. I called for a bounce, but it's just run into the previous support, now into resistance and confirming it. And we're getting that breakdown from there, the reversal from that point. So ultimately going forward, please, let's see Ondo maintaining this green support over here, 93 to 98. From 98 exactly, it must reverse from here and recover all the moving averages. We can see that they go up as high as that. Even with such a bullish news event yesterday, with Bitcoin, ETH, XRP, Solana, and Cardano all announced to be in a crypto strategic reserve, I feel like Ondo would definitely be included in that eventually if we get some more developments, as it's US based and BlackRock backed. Many banks in America are backing it. So I do think that it has a part to play in a bullish market. However, until that level of resistance is reclaimed, I don't see any reason why my bias of being bearish is invalidated. You can see that even with such bullish news, it didn't recover all the moving averages, and that is the reason why we're seeing this move back down. Don't get me wrong, we still got this key level support. It's going to give that bounce, as I'm saying, but if this is not reclaimed, and we're just rolling over once again, failing to break out of this high, putting in another lower high, and ultimately eventually rolling through this key area, putting in a lower low. Don't forget that while we were actually up here at 130, 140, it's funny because I was saying that it needs to recover these two levels and could pump into 194 and still head to new lows. Didn't even manage to get to 140 and went to new lows. Could have gone up even higher and still done this move down. So without the move up, we're even worse positioned. It had a pattern, it had a diamond pattern at the time. It eventually resulted in developing into head and shoulders, but this could equally break to the upside and get into that next level of resistance. As you can see, the top of this pattern is this current resistance, and the direct next one would be up there. And as my warnings had suggested, I was thinking that this was a complacency stage and that it was going to roll over into new lows. That's what has happened. We're not getting any structural changes yet. In fact, you can just argue that we're, after a move down, losing this area, this move up is potentially what we're getting. Who knows? But I will be here to update it if I'm seeing those structural changes with those key levels recovered. Ultimately, that needs to be recovered. But if I can see this recover, I know there's another move coming short term that we can, of course, trade. But unfortunately, guys, even with such a bullish event for the market yesterday, that level wasn't reclaimed, and ultimately not really changing the trend, not getting the characteristic changes to suggest the bearish bias that I've had is invalid. In fact, it's just doubling down on it, coming back into previous support and confirming it as resistance and failing to hold all of the moving averages. So that's why literally from exactly where it is, 98, 99, it must now pump and recover. And I will be making another update tomorrow to see how this develops. But really, guys, even if we bounce now, this should 110 to 115 should be resistance, and then have another go at dumping back down. That's it from me today. Like, subscribe, comment, and share. And if you want to get educated, to learn and identify these things on your own, to know where they're targeting, use the links down below. Whether you want to get educated through a group in my live streams weekly in the Discord, followed by all my constant updates in there, or if you want something more personalized, check out the mentorship. Otherwise, that's it from me today. Cheers.